What's up, Motocross Action? I'm Josh Moseman, and welcome to This Week in MXA, episode number 6. Today, we're coming to you from a pretty cool location, the Pro Circuit headquarters in Corona, California. Ken Roczen is by far the man to beat in the 450 class right now. He commandingly won the Indianapolis #1 Supercross on Saturday, round 4 of the season. That was his first win. He had second place. Eli Tomac went down. Ken got into the lead. Then Ken made a huge mistake, cross-threaded going off the middle double, the massive double in the middle of the track, jumped and made a split-second decision to, instead of trying to dive into the inside of the corner and make the turn and save his lead, he decided to jump off the track, keep himself from hitting the tough block and keep himself from going down. He went around the berm, around the wall jump, through the infield, and he could have jumped on right in front of Eli Tomac, but instead he decided to jump right behind him. Looking at the AMA rules regarding off-track excursions, the AMA rulebook says that a rider leaving the course may continue the race by properly re-entering the track at the closest safest point to where the rider left the course without gaining an advantage. While off the course, the rider may not accelerate in an unsafe manner as deemed by the race director. If a rider accelerates in an unsafe manner while off course or cuts part of the race course, the rider may be determined to have gained an advantage without gaining a position. It will be the duty of the race director to make the determination as to whether a rider gained an advantage by leaving the race course and re-entering. After his issues with the AMA docking him 4 points for jumping on a red cross flag back at Houston, Ken Roczen was not going to leave this decision up to the AMA. He made sure to take the decision into his own hands, let Eli Tomac back, and take his chances at passing him on his own again and trying to get the win that way rather than getting on the track in front of Eli Tomac, taking the win, and having the AMA dock him later on. So Ken Roczen played it smart. Obviously it worked out for him as he was able to make the pass on Eli Tomac quickly afterwards and check out to win the race. Then Ken Roczen showed up to Indianapolis #2, round 5 of the season, on fire again, qualified first, won the main event commandingly, and led almost every lap after passing Justin Barcia right after the start. Next up, we have to talk about Jett Lawrence and his rough night at round 5 of the season. Jett unfortunately had a few spills in qualifying, his last one being a very gnarly crash in the whoops during qualifying. Then in the heat race, he had a massive crash that took him out of the heat race. Ultimately, he lined up for the LCQ. He went on to win the LCQ, but it definitely looked like he was riding in pain and hindered. Then lined up for the 250 main event. He was on the line getting ready to go. Then he decided to pull out of the race. The pain was too much to bear and he wasn't able to race 250 main event at round 5 of the season. Jett Lawrence's practice crash was all on his own, but his heat race crash, I have a little bit of question about it. There was a tough block on the landing of the double. I was totally blind. He jumped the double, landed on the edge of the track. Tough block was there. He landed right into it, had nowhere to go, smashed the ground, landed on his shoulder and his head. Obviously, it took him out of the race. My question is, was the tough block really supposed to be there in the first place? Obviously, the AMA decided to remove it after Jett Lawrence's crash, and throughout the rest of the 250 and 450 main events, riders were landing in the exact same spot. But we do got to give him some slack. That tough block was in a tough place, and ultimately it ended his night at round 5. Jett Lawrence said after the race that he didn't hurt himself too much in the first crash in qualifying. He only had a bloody nose, and we all saw him walk off the track after qualifying. Then he lined up for the heat race, and he said in that crash he landed on a tough block, had a massive hit to his shoulder and head. He said that he's been working with his therapist, and they said that there might be a little bit of a separation in his shoulder, but he is doing everything he can to be back on the line. We hope to see Jett Lawrence back on the line this Saturday, February 6th, in Indianapolis for round 6 of the season. If he doesn't make this Saturday, he'll have one more week to recover and come back the very next Saturday in Orlando, Florida for round 7 of the season. If he doesn't make that one, he'll have a full 10 weeks to recover before the 250 East Division finishes off the series and meets up with the 250 West Division in Salt Lake City. We also got to touch on that red light that Christian Craig was running on his handlebars of his Star Racing Yamaha at round 4 of the season in Indianapolis. Originally, MXA Wrecking Crew were looking at it closely, talking to our photographers, asking them to zoom in on photos, saying, hey, what's going on with this handlebar? Originally, we thought it could be something cool. Unfortunately, it's nothing cool. It was all a big joke put on by Bobby Reagan, owner of the Star Racing Yamaha team. It's actually just a tail light off a mountain bike that you can buy at Walmart. He had it blinking on his handlebars for the whole race. We thought maybe it's a reminder, stay off the clutch, shift more, be confident. No, it was none of that. It was all a big joke, and he totally got us. But it's pretty funny, and you gotta hand it to the Star Racing Yamaha team for keeping things light over there and keeping the media on their toes. Also, I have to touch on my little brother, Michael Moseman's awesome main event from round 5 of the season in Indianapolis. Little bro got the whole shot and led the 250 main event for 7 laps ahead of Colt Nichols, points leader in the 250 East Division, and Christian Craig. Unfortunately, a lap rider went down in front of him in the rhythm section. It was a big crash. My brother did everything he could to miss the rider. He kind of slid and actually tagged him with his rear wheel, went around the motorcycle. Colt Nichols was able to get by him. Then Christian Craig was right on his tail. Christian was then able to get by my brother later in the race, and my brother went on to finish 3rd. It was unfortunate, but it was really cool to see him running up front and leading the 250 main event. A lot of people have been texting and calling me about my brother's awesome main event and how he's doing so well until that lap rider, and they're like, man, you must hate that lap rider. No, we don't actually. It's pretty funny. Max Miller, the guy who crashed, is actually a longtime friend of ours, family friend. We've known Max for a long time. I've known him since he was 7 years old, riding 65s. My brother and his family just went out to dinner the other night. They were talking about pointers and kind of giving him some tips on Supercross riding. It was unfortunate that Max went down, but it's part of racing and that's how it goes sometimes. Next up, I want to talk about rounds 13, 14, and 15 of the 2021 Monster Energy Supercross series. It's going to be held in Atlanta, Georgia. So now that's not new. We've been going to Atlanta for years now. But what is new is that it's not going to be held in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium indoors, but it's actually going to be outdoors at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, happening on the infield of the Speedway track, a lot like Daytona. So looking forward to that. We just got a bunch more information about the Fan Fest. They're going to have freestyle and pit bike kind of exhibition shows before the night show racing starts in Atlanta. And I'm really interested to see how racing turns out in Atlanta. It's going to be a lot like Daytona, and it's going to really favor guys like Eli Tomac and Jeremy Martin, who love racing the outdoor style tracks. Diving into what the MXA Wrecking Crew's been up to. Today, we're at Pro Circuit. We're hanging out with Schneike on the dyno. Schneike is a former factory Honda mechanic. He worked with Justin Barsha for a long time. Now, he's an R&D technician here at Pro Circuit, helping develop them products for their motorcycles. And today he's helping MXA dyno all of our 2021 250s, testing them all at the same time so that we can get an accurate reading and limit as many variables as we possibly can so we can see exactly where each motorcycle stacks up against each other. More of what the MXA Wrecking Crew's up to. We just posted our first ride video on the 2021 and a half KTM Factory Edition 450 SXF. First ride video is actually 2 rides, so we actually was more of like a second ride video, but we put a lot of time on that bike before filming the video, and we really wanted to make sure that we knew what the Bluetooth unit was all about and kind of learn what the MyKTM app was all about as well, so that we could give you guys an honest opinion for our first ride video. First day we took it out to the desert, rode some hard pack and rough tracks, where the second day we rode out at Glen Helen on more of a groomed track, but it was actually rutted from the rain that we had here in Southern California. So we had a lot of cool things to learn and know about the Bluetooth connectivity unit and the mapping that you can control from your smartphone. So be sure to check out MXA's first ride video on the KTM 450 that we just released. And also stay tuned to Motocross Action Mag's YouTube channel and click that subscribe button so you can see when our Husqvarna Rockstar Edition 2021 and a half 450 releases, and we talk about the new Bluetooth connectivity unit on that one and all the little details that separate the Rockstar Edition 450 from the KTM Factory Edition 450. So that's all for this week in MXA episode number 6. Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned to motocrossactionmag.com for the latest news, reviews, race results, and more. And if you haven't seen some of our latest videos, click the thumbnails now.